Part 102. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1024. For a long time, Zhao Gongming has been accustomed to the indestructible and powerful power of the Dingai Divine Pearl. Even many Hunyuan monks were beaten so hard that they ran away with their heads covered under the powerful power of his Dingai Divine Pearl. This is also the confidence for him to challenge Su Junming. If successful, he will establish his authority among the outer disciples of Ji Xiao. But he soon found out he was wrong. The simple, heavy, and obscure divine gate did not collapse under the attack of the Dingai Divine Pearl. And a powerful force suppressed him, making his control of the divine beads obscure. This is not the end. Before he could react, a stronger force came down. He completely lost control of the Dingai Divine Pearl. How can this be? Looking at Zhao Gongming, who exclaimed in surprise, Su Junming smiled calmly. Since he understood all the ways of time, space, and seal in Hunyuan, the Hunyuan divine sect naturally also developed the Hunyuan spiritual treasure. Although in terms of power, the Hunyuan divine sect is not as powerful as the 24 Dingai divine pearls. But Zhao Gongming's magic power was far inferior to him, and his Taoism was not as good as his, let alone the power of his four powers of space, time, soul, and seal. Feeling that the 24 beads in Hunyuan Zhenmen had become quiet after being sealed by the four gates, he smiled calmly and looked forward. What other means do you have? Just use them together. Zhao Gongming's expression was uncertain. Even his strongest Dingai Divine Pearl was no match for others, let alone the rest. Continuing to take action is just asking for humiliation. He took a deep breath and bowed. Senior has great cultivation and powerful treasures. I am no match for this junior. Seeing him admit defeat, Su Junming was not overly embarrassed. With a thought in his heart, he took back the Hunyuan Divine Gate. The 24 Dingai Divine Pearls that were originally sealed were revealed. Zhao Gongming did not dare to neglect and quickly took the treasure back. After heaving a sigh of relief, he flew towards the Ji Xiao disciples. No one laughed at his defeat. Everyone saw with their own eyes the power of the Dingai Divine Pearl just now. Such a powerful treasure was easily neutralized by the Lord Chongshan, and they were no match for them. This person must also be an ancient power. All the cultivators made speculations. Su Junming flew over with his hands behind his back. Holy Emperor, everything is finished, Pandeo will take his disciples and leave. Fellow Taoist, don't you think about it anymore? Our Donghuang human race is vast and there is enough space for Chongshan disciples to broaden their horizons and accumulate merit. Su Junming smiled calmly. The Donghuang human race has its own disciples from the Sanking section, but the Buzaoshan human race only has my Chongshan disciples to protect them. After saying that, he bowed his hands. Farewell. The body turned into a escaping light and flew away in an instant. More than 30 Chongshan disciples quickly followed. Looking at the disappearing light, Fu 11 shook his head and sighed. Pity. He had long seen the conflict between Ji Xiao and Chongshan disciples. But he didn't stop. Compared with Ji Xiao, who was powerful and had a saint behind him, Chongshan, who was weak, naturally became the abandoned party. Su Junming obviously saw through his plan. That's why I left so resolutely. After millions of miles away from Huancaiyu, Su Junming stopped. With a finger, the Hunyuan Divine Gate emerged from mid-air. I have something else to do. You guys should go back to Buzhu Mountain first. Disciple, obey. Zhang Yang. Teacher. After I return, I will give instructions to all clans. From now on, those who are not Deluo disciples will not be allowed to leave Mount Buzhu. Disciple, obey. Su Junming waved his hand. Zhang Yang then walked into the Hunyuan Divine Gate. After they teleported away, Su Junming put away the treasure, looked in the direction of Huancaiyu and sighed. I should have thought of it earlier. As the emperors of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors, how could they not know how to maneuver and make choices? If the 3 sovereigns hadn't suppressed him and opened up the world, he probably wouldn't have been Deu. Through this incident, he also understood that in the era of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors, it would be difficult to seek merit from the Eastern barren human race. Disciples of the 3 teachings of Ren, Chan, and Ji will definitely not let outsiders get involved. The Western religion and the demon clan are both excluded, not to mention Chongshan. On the sidelines, those that the saint sect looks down upon are the small households and casual cultivators. Things of great merit, such as popularizing agriculture, opening up the way to value goods, creating writing, teaching merit, becoming the emperor's teacher, etc., will all fall into the hands of the 3 religions. Facing the 3 saints, Su Junming was not convinced and insisted on competing with them. Forget it, there is no merit. If you practice hard, you will be able to achieve Hunyuan in the future. After letting go of this matter, he spread his right hand and a Bagua disc appeared in front of him. It was the heavenly secret divine ball that he had already trained into the great Luo Lingbao. As soon as the mana was activated, the divine ball began to spin rapidly. Soon, Su Junming had a sudden realization in his heart. Southeast. After calculating the direction that was most beneficial to him, he put away the divine ball of heavenly secret and activated the escape light to slowly fly over. Su Junming didn't know where he was going or what he would encounter. He has been practicing in seclusion at Buzhu Mountain for 30 million years. Now he just wants to relax and take things as they come. It doesn't matter where he goes. The prehistoric world is vast. Su Junming traveled all the way, passing through countless human tribes, passing down the cultivation methods, and subduing the demons and monsters that eat people. Tens of thousands of years have passed without realizing it. He had not found any useful treasures for 10,000 years. Su Junming even doubted whether everything he had calculated at the beginning was correct. After leaving this small tribe called the Black Tiger Clan, they continued to fly toward the southeast. After 3 months, the lush trees gradually disappeared. They were replaced by low shrubs and lush grass, and the moisture gradually became thicker. Su Junming's light stopped for a moment, and as he waved, a faint yellow breath appeared in his palm. The keen consciousness can clearly sense the strong toxicity in it. Miasma? It seems there is a swamp ahead. After traveling for nearly 10,000 years, spanning trillions of miles, and various terrains, Su Junming is already familiar with it. Sure enough, after traveling hundreds of millions of miles, a huge swamp appeared in front of us. This swamp was as big as any swamp he had ever seen. At a glance, one can see that there are hundreds of millions of years of accumulated black mud, spread across it, and endless miasma, like strips of dim yellow ribbons, hovering among various brightly colored poisonous weeds. The sound of poisonous gas bursting through bubbles was heard one after another, like the only life in this dead swamp. Su Junming floated hundreds of feet in the air and simply performed a few seals. A map 3 feet wide appeared in front of him. Most of this map is blank, but the area around Mount Buzhu in the center is very clear. In addition, a well-marked topographic structure can be seen extending towards the southeast. This topographic map is where Su Junming has walked over the past 10,000 years. Whenever he goes to a strange place, he first draws a topographic map, which has been his long-standing habit. Unfortunately, the prehistoric era is so vast that even if it is supplemented by maps drawn by Chongshan disciples when they travel, it will be difficult to form a detailed and complete map. After marking the symbol representing the swamp, Su Junming urged the escape light to fly towards the depths. At the same time, a huge dim yellow flag emerged from the void behind him. The shabby corpse with a human face and an animal body, ears like a dog, and green dragon feet emerged from the sacred flag. Opening his mouth to swallow, the poisonous gas that was originally floating above the swamp quickly flew towards its huge mouth. As the ancestral witch of poison, Shibishi was born with the path of poison, and was born to master all poisons. In the Shibicorpse God banner refined by Su Junming, in addition to this physically powerful ancestral witch, there is also a world of poison that extends tens of millions of miles. All the poisonous gas that filled the swamp was absorbed into this world filled with poisonous gas. If you are facing an enemy, this poisonous world is the best way to suppress the corpses at the bottom of the box. Suddenly, a purple lightning bolt shot into the sky from the mud below. The speed was so fast, it was like a purple rainbow. But the strange thing is that when it was 3 feet closer to Su Junming, its speed slowed down instantly. It showed its appearance at a speed several times slower than a turtle crawling. This is a centipede that is dozens of feet long, with a purple-red body, blazing eyes, and 3 tails. 3-tailed golden centipede? I never imagined that I would encounter a poisonous creature like you before I even entered the middle of the swamp. The 3-tailed golden centipede is a poisonous insect of the Deluo level. It is as fast as lightning and comes and goes like the wind. Even if the Deluo golden fairy is bitten by them, it will be a big trouble. Fortunately, Su Junming created a mustard space within 3 feet of himself. It cannot be seen from the outside, but it is trillions of miles inside. If you can't cross this huge space, there's no way you can threaten him. A big hand covered with yellow scales stretched out from behind. Catch the 3-tailed golden centipede. The latter struggled wildly, but its proud claws could not break through the scales on its big hands. The big hand retracted, threw the poisonous centipede into the open mouth, and filed its iron teeth. Crunchy. As if he had tasted the beauty of the 3-tailed golden centipede, Shibishi jumped down from the sacred flag and transformed into a body of 10,000 feet. Boom! The black mud, with a rotten and sour smell, seemed like a huge wave. The thick solace of the feet sunk deeply into the soil. The alarmed swamp poison felt the tyranny of Shibishi, and quickly fled towards the surroundings. All of a sudden, centipedes of all sizes, poisonous snakes with 2 or 3 heads, toads with bumps on their backs, leeches thousands of feet long, and even countless poisonous insects with no names, appeared like mountains and seas. The huge mouth of the Shibicorpse opened, and its huge swallowing power was like a water pump. All the poisons flew upside down and fell into its mouth. Soon, the churning poison had been swallowed up by him. He strode forward, and after taking 100 steps forward, his thick arms plunged into the mud like lightning. Hiss! A huge double-headed poisonous python was caught by him from the ground. The thick and long snake body instantly coiled around Shiba's corpse. The huge mouth opened, and the colorful poisonous mist was like an angry wave, instantly drowning Shibicorpse. The powerful snake venom rippled in the space for a moment wherever it passed. But hitting Shiba's corpse was like scratching an itch from behind and had no effect at all. 4 broad, giant palms grasped the snake's body, its muscles bulging. Tisk! The huge poisonous snake was torn into 3 pieces by him. The smelly snake blood dyed Shiba's corpse red like a waterfall. The dead snake corpse was still struggling, but it could not break free from the giant iron-like hand. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1025. Wow, tisk! The sound of muscle fibers being torn and the sound of swallowing were heard together. Shibicorpse, half stained with blood and full of evil aura, swallowed the snake corpse in his hand and quickly ate it all. Su Junming frowned. But considering that he would eat poisonous insects later, I didn't bother to clean him up. Waving the sacred flag and continuing to contain the poisonous miasma, Shibishi also took long strides and walked towards the depths of the swamp. Wherever it passes, the poisonous miasma is completely eliminated, and the poisonous insects are also dispersed. As the swamp gets deeper and deeper, Shibishi's size also expands. After 91 million miles into the swamp, his size already exceeded 10 million feet. Even so, the swamp covered his thighs. However, with his powerful strength as an ancestral witch, the swamp could not hinder him. Boom! The earth trembled, and the endless smelly black mud was like a volcano erupting, rising millions of feet into the sky. The huge body of Shibuji rushed up from the mud, crossed hundreds of thousands of feet, and then fell down like a cannonball. There was a boom and the mud rolled. One head was 1,000,000 feet long, and its back was covered with purple-black tumors, like a poisonous toad on a giant mountain. It was shaken out of the ground by Shibu's corpse. The giant palm reached out and instantly grabbed its head. Spare your life. It never expected that even though it had hidden itself with its innate magical powers, it still couldn't escape the hunt of this tyrannical giant. Boom! Flesh and blood flew, and bones broke. The hill-like head was completely crushed by Shibu's corpse. The remaining 3 arms grabbed the corpse and stuffed it into his mouth. For other monks, the strong poisonous blood was like seasoning for Shibu's corpse and had no effect at all. After swallowing this poisonous toad, which was at the peak of Deluo Jingxian, the aura of Shibu's corpse increased even more. Ever since Su Junming's formation path took a step further and Shibishi's physical strength entered the Hunyuan True Immortal, it has been growing rapidly. Although it has not yet reached its peak, it has at least narrowed the gap. After Shibishi had swallowed the poisonous toad, he strode forward. By here, the thick poisonous miasma has turned into reality, like a sea of 7 colors, floating on the smelly mud. After activating the sacred flags and swallowing the poisonous gas, Su Junming and Shibishi continued to walk towards the center. At this point, except for poisonous insects at the Deluo Jingxian level, other poisonous insects can no longer survive in such a strong poisonous miasma. And every Deluo Jingxian level poison has a huge territory. After killing a 3-headed red-spotted snake again, he traveled 30 billion miles, and the dense poisonous miasma around him suddenly disappeared. A lake with a diameter of 600 billion miles appeared in front of him. The lake is like a magnificent mirror, without any ripples. Quiet and remote. Not a trace of poisonous gas could be seen. In the center of this lake, there is an island. The flowers are red and the willows are green, and the life is bright. It is simply unimaginable that in the center of a poisonous swamp, there could be such a vibrant paradise. Carrying the yin and embracing the yang, infinite vitality is bred in the midst of destruction. It is indeed a good place for practice. Su Junming stood with his hands behind his hands and admired in his heart. Su Junming did not rush into it. A moment of consciousness. A distinguished guest is here, why don't fellow Taoists come out to meet you? The clear voice spread far away. The calm lake suddenly rippled. Soon it turned into a huge wave. A ferocious dragon head slowly rose from the lake. The black and gray scales, cone shape, extremely sharp dragon horns, and pale green dragon eyes are very different from ordinary dragons. As the huge dragon body like a mountain emerged, 9 thick and sharp dragon claws under its belly also appeared in Su Junming's eyes. The dragon claws of the dragon family generally represent strength. Those with 3 claws and below are ordinary dragons, 5 claws and below are Tai dragons, 7 claws and below are Deluo dragons, and 9 claws are Hunyuan level beings. The ancient poisonous dragon that is 18 million feet long in front of you is in existence in the realm of Hunyuan celestial immortal. The huge dragon eyes took a deep look at the huge corpse of Shibu, and his eyes stayed on Su Junming. Don't you know the friendly law number? True Lord Chongshan. Fellow Taoist Chongshan is indeed extraordinary. He was able to obtain the body of the ancestral witch Shibishi and sacrifice it into a treasure. Su Junming smiled calmly and didn't explain much. However, although my fellow Taoist has a high level of cultivation, it would be too arrogant to kill tens of thousands of people in our Black Mist Swamp. Now he has even attacked me in Black Mirror Lake. Haha, fellow Taoist, you didn't think you were arrogant when you asked hundreds of millions of people around the Black Mist Swamp to enshrine boys and girls for you to devour. I protect them from being killed by countless poisonous insects in the Black Mist Swamp. My merits are immeasurable. Why not eat a few children occasionally? And the human race's lifespan is short, they are just floating in the world, so why not eat a few? How many should you eat? Looking at the piles of bones at the bottom of Black Mirror Lake, I'm afraid there are no less than billions. Although I was only looking at it from a distance, the thick mist was filled with the wails of the undead. Point your finger. The bones at the bottom of the lake seemed to come alive and gathered towards Su Junming's place. In just a moment, the piles of white bones formed a mountain of bones millions of feet tall. Is this what you call a few? The increasingly cold tone revealed a strong murderous intent. Snort. A large amount of mist sprayed out from the poisonous dragon's nostrils. A hurricane rolled up huge waves that lasted for a long time. What do you want? His tone became more arrogant. Repay grievances when there is a grievance, and revenge when there is a grudge. Ha ha ha, what a joke. When I call you fellow Taoist, you really think of yourself as a person. It is said that all that is left of this shabby corpse is a pile of rotten flesh. It was in his prime. What do I have to fear? Boom, the miserable green dragon energy rose into the sky like a volcano erupting. The powerful pressure of the Hunyuan celestial immortal level dragon clan was like an ancient giant mountain, pressing down heavily. Su Junming's body sank and his expression changed slightly. The power of the Hunyuan level was indeed extraordinary, and the mere momentum was too much for him to bear. With a thought in his heart, a black pennant appeared above his head. A layer of tough blue light enveloped the whole body. The previous heavy pressure disappeared instantly. This is Xianyuan water control flag. After the surprise, rich greed spurted out from the dragon's eyes. With one stroke of 9 claws, the huge dragon body was as fast as lightning. Bring me the baby. Su Junming stared at the dragon claw as big as a mountain without moving. Boom, the lake exploded. A huge sky-high axe, as fast as lightning, slashed straight at the poisonous dragon. Instinctively sensing something was wrong, he rolled in the air and avoided the axe's light. The heavy axe instantly cut through the void, and the entire Black Mirror Lake was cut in half, revealing the black mud underneath. Boom. Taking huge steps, Shebishi held an axe in one hand and a shield in the other. With both hands free under his ribs, he strode forward to Su Junming. The already huge body soon exceeded 30 million feet. It was even bigger than the ancient poison dragon, exuding an extremely tyrannical pressure. Staring at the huge shabby corpse, Poison Dragon looked solemn. The strength displayed by this physical body is still above it. However, even if it is powerful, it is still just a dead thing after all. There is no need to fight it head on, just kill the human race. As soon as the thought came to an end, the human race landed lightly on top of Shaba's corpse, and then disappeared into his bawy point. The next moment, Shabaji, who had dull eyes, instantly became more agile. Seeing this, Du Long's heart sank. The plan just now fell through before it could be implemented. I don't believe you don't have weaknesses. The ancestral witch's body is so powerful that it does not dare to get close. A huge mouthful of fangs opened. The overwhelming green poisonous gas was like the Yangtze River, rolling in. The power of Hunyuan level poisonous mist is extraordinary. Even if Shebishi is the ancestral witch of poison, he would not dare to take it lightly. The banner of gods and demons that had turned into nothingness was shaken by Shebishi, and the powerful swallowing power spread out. All the poisonous gas was quickly taken away by him. Suddenly, the huge dragon tail, like a huge whip, penetrated the poisonous gas and struck hard. The speed was so fast that it was astonishing. Shebishi held the shield in front of him. Boom! A loud noise. The huge impact made Shebishi take a few steps back. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1026. Chapter 1006. 12 heads, 24 arms. Su Junming's current cultivation level is only at the late stage of Deluo Jingxian. Although he has practiced the way of the soul intensively and his soul is powerful, it is still far behind the Hunyuan realm. Shibuji, whose physical combat power has reached the early stage of Hunyuan True Immortal, is like a child wielding a sledgehammer, one move at a time, full of power, but far behind in flexibility. Although the ancient poison dragon is not known for its speed, it is still as fast as lightning in Su Junming's eyes. If Shibuji hadn't restrained the toxin it was best at, I'm afraid this battle would not last long and Su Junming would have ended in failure. Even so, he is still a little clumsy now. Su Junming was embarrassed. Although the ancient poison dragon had the upper hand, it was still difficult to win. The power of the ancestral witch is too strong, especially the Hunyuan level axe, which is so sharp that its scales cannot stop it. Therefore, it can hit Su Junming many times, but as long as it is hit by Su Junming once, it will be seriously injured or even killed. It couldn't help but be careless. With one stroke of his 9 claws, he flew towards Shibuji's broad back like lightning. Bowing his head, the 2 conical dragon horns, driven by the huge force, were like siege cones, sharp and heavy. Boom! A powerful blue ripple appeared thousands of feet away from Shibu's corpse. The crazy impact made the blue shield deeply dented and fluctuated violently, as if it would collapse in the next second. But the poisonous dragon didn't dare to insist, and quickly retreated without hitting a single blow. The next moment, a huge bronze axe as big as a mountain fell in the air. A huge black trace appeared in mid-air, which was a trace of the space being chopped into pieces. The ancient poisonous dragon quickly retreated and looked at the Xianyuan water control flag floating above the head of Shibu's corpse, which exuded the rich charm of water, with an ugly expression. Damn it, is this guy really just Deluo Jingxian? Poison Dragon cursed in his heart. He's tried too many times. If you attack the front, you will be blocked by the big shield, and if you attack the rear, there will be the Xianyuan water control flag. If that was all, with his own speed, he would definitely be able to catch the loopholes in the opponent's defense. But the cyan stone door above the opponent's head contains the charm of Hushin Dao, and there are many space barriers around it. When it breaks through, the speed will inevitably slow down. If you miss a hit, if you don't run away quickly, the big axe will come down. The result is that even though he clearly has the upper hand, he feels like he is pulling a turtle and has nowhere to turn. Since when has it become so troublesome to kill a Deluo Jingxian? Su Junming, who was sitting cross-legged in the sea of consciousness of Shibu's corpse, made a secret gesture with his hands. Reward good deeds. Mana spent is quickly restored. Feeling this, I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It is not easy to activate the Xianyuan water control flag to block the crazy impact of the ancient poison dragon, and it consumes a lot of mana. Without the magical power of rewarding goodness, he would not have been able to persist for so long. But it's almost time to end. Through the ancient poison dragon, he tested the gap between himself and the Hunyuan True Immortal when using the God Demon banner. I want to see how much mana you have left to consume. The ancient poisonous dragon rushed forward again. The sharp dragon horn, because it was too fast, left 2 black scratches in mid-air after breaking through the space. Boom! The violent clash of gold and iron echoed throughout the sky. This time it was no longer Xuanyuan's water control flag that blocked it, but the iron shield in Shibuji's hand. How can it be? He stared at it in disbelief, his eyes as calm as before, his wise eyes, as if he had already understood everything about it. His heart trembled, and he quickly retreated subconsciously. Unexpectedly, the astonishing axe did not strike this time. Just when he was wondering, a sudden wind came from the back of his head. There was no time to think about it, and he instinctively flipped over. An extremely sharp and huge bronze knife slashed down against the scales. Because it was so close, Poison Dragon even sensed the cold and bone-eroding strong evil spirit above. Before it could recover, a giant silver staff like a giant pillar fell down silently. Boom! Ouch! The shrill screams shook the world. It can be clearly seen that the ancient poisonous dragon's slender and strong huge body is directly shaped into a V shape. Broken scales and large swaths of dark green dragon blood fell in the air like waterfalls. The extremely poisonous dragon blood and the powerful carrion power directly caused the lake water to boil. Then there was true silence, and all life in the lake, even the tiniest creatures, were killed instantly. But the extremely poisonous dragon's blood is not a big trouble to the few behemoths that appear from the void. Shua! The giant axe flew across the sky. The screams disappeared instantly. Along with the dragon's blood soaring into the sky, a mountain-like dragon head fell from the sky. The soul that had not yet dissipated looked at the figures tens of millions of feet tall in the air, some with human heads and animal bodies, or 2 heads and 4 arms, with soaring momentum. How can this be? Boom! Nearly 20 million feet, the dragon corpse as big as a mountain fell into the lake, causing huge waves to the sky. Dijiang, holding a staff close to his feet, appeared from mid-air holding a long sword, a huge shield and a sword. The blood-stained Shabi corpse with the huge axe waved the divine and demon flag and collected all the dragon corpse and poisonous blood. Taking a step forward, Su Junming came outside and took a slight breath. 3 gods and demons can solve it, but its strength is a bit weak. Moreover, it has never used magic weapons. He activated his magic power and after some deductions, he frowned slightly. After putting away the Emperor River Divine Flag and the Propulsion Divine Flag, he drove Shabiji towards the island in the middle of Black Mirror Lake. Compared with the huge swamp and the vast Black Mirror Lake, this island in the middle of the lake with a diameter of tens of millions of miles seems a bit small. Apart from tall trees and blooming flowers, there is no living thing on the island. Arriving at the center of the island, a magnificent stone palace appeared in sight. The stone hall is simple and majestic, built entirely of bluestone, with mysterious divine patterns embossed on the pillars directly in front of it that are thousands of feet thick. Inside the stone gate, which is 9,000 feet wide and 10,000 feet high, it is filled with darkness, as if all the light has been swallowed up. After shrinking Shabishi's figure to 10,000 feet, he came to the vast platform paved with thick rocks outside the stone palace. Staring at this magnificent palace, he smiled lightly and walked towards the door. After passing through the wide stone gate, my eyes blurred, the portal behind disappeared instantly, and an astonishing scene appeared in front of me. This is a boundless dark space, dotted with stars as many as the sands of the Ganges. A statue of a god and demon with 12 snake heads, a human body, a dragon's tail, and 24 arms, with a greenish-brown body and a height of hundreds of millions of feet, lies across the stars. The powerful and unimaginable aura, mixed with the death aura, weighed Su Junming's heart extremely heavy. The scars that spread across the entire chest still contained a strong evil spirit. Su Junming, who had seen it several times before, instantly recognized that it was left by Pangu's axe. Obviously, this is a chaos god and demon. Moreover, they were the same chaos gods and demons who were killed by the great god Pangu when the sky was opened. A crimson lotus grew from the heart of the chaos god and demon. The flower buds are tightly wrapped and full of vitality, as if they are pregnant with something. Dong dong. It was like the sound of a beating heart, growing from weak to strong, and then gradually became louder. Finally, this world, which is like a galaxy in the universe, trembles with the sound of this heartbeat. Su Junming frowned. This strange sound made his heart seem to beat accordingly. However, his dangerous instinct made him instinctively isolate himself from this sound. Just as he was about to take action, the sound of his heart beating suddenly weakened. Growing from the chest of the chaos god demon, a blood-red lotus flower slowly expanded. It grew bigger and bigger, and soon exceeded hundreds of millions of miles. The huge lotus flower slowly opened, and the dazzling light shot straight into the sky. An earth-shattering aura bloomed. Turnip. An ancient syllable resounds throughout the world. An extremely strong pressure came from all directions. Before Su Junming could react, he was trapped in the middle by this mountain of pressure. Even the magic power in his body and the magic weapon in his hand were suppressed by the powerful sealing power. Along with the bright light, a god and demon that was tens of millions of feet tall and had the same appearance as the chaos gods and demons, but was much smaller, walked out of the lotus. 12 pairs, 24 huge snake eyes, stared at Su Junming, and the front hand waved. Holding it, the black scepter was like a giant pillar, with great power that created the world, and was knocked down head-on. Just when he was being killed, a giant bronze bell tens of millions of feet tall and as big as a mountain suddenly appeared in the air. Clang! The earth-shattering bell shook the sky, and everything in its path froze. Even the chaos gods and demons were sealed. Clang! The second bell rang. The surrounding star-like world, with billions of corpses of chaotic gods and demons, everything shattered inch by inch and turned into nothingness. A huge, bright blue sphere that was hundreds of feet in size slowly fell from mid-air. Su Junming waved, and the basketball slowly shrank and fell into his palm. In this treasure, the consciousness that originally belonged to the owner has been shattered by the powerful bell. The magic ball, a high-grade Hunyuan spiritual treasure, is really powerful. If I hadn't been prepared, I would have almost been killed by it. As he spoke, he looked forward. In the center of the grand hall, on a lotus stone seat, a tall and thin old man sat cross-legged. Suspended on its right side is a black scepter that is 2 feet long, shaped like a Zen staff, but much smaller, and has a lotus head. It was the same as the scepter used by the snake-headed god and demon to kill him in the fantasy just now. There was a black stone bowl suspended above the old man's head. This stone bowl has a rough appearance and no pattern decoration, but Su Junming can feel the rich spatial Taoist charm from it. Obviously, this is also a space magic weapon. It seems that I guessed right. The ancient poisonous dragon outside is just your Dharma body. The closed eyes slowly opened, and a strange light appeared in the pale green snake pupils. Together with the thin cheeks, they looked extremely sinister. Thanks to book friend *O for the 200 starting coin reward. Thanks to book friend Ying O Wang for the 100 starting coin reward. Thanks to the book friend Zushin Daegu for the reward of 100 starting coins. Thanks to book friend 5JXWZ for the 100 starting coin reward. Thank you so much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1027. Staring at the imposing bronze bell in mid-air. I didn't expect that Pangu's chaos clock would be in your hands. The hoarse voice sounded like it was made by grinding 2 pieces of pig iron, which made me feel uncomfortable. Su Junming smiled calmly. I didn't expect that deep in this swamp, there is actually the remnant soul of a chaotic god and demon hidden. The old man looked at him deeply. It's a pity that you only have the treasure, but you don't have Pangu's great magic power. The next moment, the old man's figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he was already behind Su Junming. The speed is so fast that it is almost comparable to teleportation. The iron staff in his hand was knocked down with a bang, and a powerful force burst out, and the entire space barrier around Su Junming was shattered. Then it hit him hard. Boom! The body exploded, but there was no flesh and blood at all. Boom! The earth-shattering bells swept across. The old man grabbed the scepter with both hands and held it firmly in front of him. Under the impact of invisible sound waves, he was instantly blown thousands of feet away. His pale green eyes stared intently at the figure appearing on the big clock. That wasn't your real body just now. There was disbelief in his voice. Yes and no. What he just used was the magical power he mastered after comprehending the way of time to the Hunyuan realm. It's called the body of time. It can form the three dharmakayas of the past, present, and future. Every dharma body has a complete soul and magic power. Even the most top-notch treasure cannot be found to be half-fake. This is also the reason why this person was recruited. Different from the seven-souled Taoist body, the three dharma body has no independent consciousness and cannot be cultivated. It is just Su Junming's magical dharma body. At critical moments, you can use it to escape by cutting off your tail, or you can also use it to take risks. How to say? How stupid are you to think that I would tell you such a problem? The old man's face darkened instantly. Back then, in the chaos, even Pangu didn't dare to tease me like this. Haha, a guy who was beheaded by the great god Pangu dared to boast so shamelessly, it really opened my eyes. Court death. The old man was furious and rushed forward as fast as lightning. Almost instantly, he appeared next to Su Junming, and the scepter in his hand was knocked off his head. The strange thing is that Su Junming's body seemed to turn into nothingness. When the scepter hit him, although the space was shattered, his body was not damaged at all. The power of time. The old man soon understood. The next moment, a warning sign appeared in my heart. No, go back quickly. Dong dong dong. The bells, like yellow bells and big bells, are like angry waves sweeping across all directions. This time the bell is no longer a powerful impact, but a sealing power that seals the sky and the earth. The old man felt his body sink, as if a vast world was pressing down on his shoulders, and the magic power in his body instantly became sluggish. Ah! A roar. The body expanded instantly, and in an instant it transformed into a snake-headed god and demon 60 million feet tall, with 12 heads and 24 arms. The arms were stretched open, and the sound of the bonds breaking was heard. Dushan gods and demons formation. After the majestic voice, an earth-shaking breath rose into the sky. Immediately afterwards, a high-spirited man with a height of hundreds of millions of feet, gray hair, shirtless, bronze-colored body, eyes like the sun and moon, and muscular muscles appeared in mid-air. Pangu. The old man felt a chill rising from the bottom of his heart. Trillions of years ago, in the chaos, the figure of gods blocking gods and killing gods, demons blocking demons and slaying demons, dominating the world, overlapped with the figure in front of them. The memory of being killed with an axe came to mind again. Run, run, run away. All courage disappeared at this moment. Just when he turned around, a giant axe tens of millions of meters long had already shattered the space and came behind him. No. The roar of despair resounded throughout the world. The powerful snake-headed god-demon, comparable to the ultimate Hunyuan true immortal, was instantly chopped into two pieces. The chaos bell high in the sky instantly transformed into a four-legged giant cauldron as big as a mountain. Its aura was much stronger than the chaos bell just now. It flew down in the air and absorbed the upper body of the snake-headed god and demon like lightning. A hill covered with clouds and mist took in the remaining half of the body. After the victory was completely established, Pangu's true body slowly decomposed. The nine-faced sacred flags of Dong Huang Tai, Zai, Dijiang, Jiangliang, Zurong, Gonggong, Lingxiao, Hutu, and Jamang emerged. The nine-faced divine flags form the Dushan gods and demons array to summon the true form of Pangu. Su Junming can control it for a quarter of an hour. Once it exceeds, he will be injured by the powerful power of heaven and earth. However, the power of the nine-faced divine flag is enough to defeat the Hunyuan true immortal, and it is easy to kill a Hunyuan true immortal. After breathing slowly and evenly, put away the nine-faced divine flag. It seems that this guy was really frightened by the great god Pangu. He was immediately confused when he saw Pangu's true body. If not, it would take a lot of effort to kill him. Boom! The giant cauldron next to it trembled. This guy is an existence that survived chaos. Without his body, he can still shake the Kinkan cauldron with his soul alone. With a move of his hand, the huge cauldron slowly shrank and fell into the palm of his hand. This Kinkan cauldron, together with the chaos bell just now, were all transformed from the Dian divine mirror with the innate magical power of the all transformations of the universe. Unfortunately, the chaos bell is still in the earthly immortal realm. This chaos bell was modeled on the restriction within the Eastern Emperor bell, and its power was limited. However, with his late-stage Deluo Jinxian's magic power, a chaos clock of this level is enough. No matter how strong he is, it will be difficult for him to perform. The chaos bell, the Kinkan cauldron, and the Tai Chi diagram are the three treasures that the Dian divine mirror can currently transform. The chaos clock has incomplete restrictions and limited power. The Kinkan cauldron and Tai Chi diagram, thanks to the perfect restrictions left by Kinkan Taoist, are not inferior to the genuine ones at all. The Kinkan Ding transformed into the Dian divine mirror was placed in the back of Chongshan residence. He stretched out his hand and the scepter left by the snake-headed god and demon, as well as the black stone bowl above its head, slowly flew down. It's just a scepter, it's all made of chaos divine iron, a top-grade Hunyuan spiritual treasure. Hardness and heaviness are its most powerful qualities. Obviously this is a unique weapon. Combined with the powerful physical bodies of the chaos gods and demons, the power is astonishing. Finally, there is the black stone bowl. The stone bowl, which is about 10 feet in size, has no restrictions at all. In other words, this is not a magic weapon. But the tyrannical spatial rhyme in it cannot be faked. After holding it in my hand and feeling it for a moment, I suddenly remembered a chaotic divine object recorded in the books of Dong Huangtai and Wangshu in the Yeyu Palace on Kongsang Mountain. The empty green stone. An extremely rare, top-notch space spiritual material bred in chaos. A small grain can open up a small world. It is about 10 feet in size in front of you. Although it has not been opened by Taoism, the internal space exceeds Su Junming's natal spiritual treasure Hunyuan Zhenmen. Nowadays, the Hunyuan Divine Gate, which has two Hunyuan Divine Forbidden Gates, has an internal space as wide as 3 trillion miles. Su Junming simply couldn't imagine how big the internal space would be if the full potential of the Kongqing Divine Stone was tapped. To be sure, that must be an astonishing number. He shook his head and wanted to practice the Kongqing Divine Stone. Unless he advanced to Hunyuan, he would not have enough mana and it would take too much time to develop. The spiritual consciousness is immersed in the vast and boundless space of Shivo. Lying prone was a rotten snake-headed chaos god demon with 12 heads and 24 arms. Just like what Su Junming saw in his vision, a long axe mark almost cut its chest in half. Judging from the remaining aura, this was the perfect power of the Hunyuan Xianxian at its peak. Now, it's just an empty shell. The essence and blood in his body had been used by the snake-headed god and demon to retrain his true form, and now he was killed by Su Junming. If I could advance to Hunyuan, I might be able to use the great magical power of time to return to origin to repair this physical body. Of course, that's just thinking about it. This snake-headed god and demon is not a descendant of Pangu, so it has no effect on his Tushan gods and demons formation. The best solution is to use the remaining flesh and blood essence to worship the Tushan demon god. His spiritual thoughts went deep and he was quickly attracted by the strong vitality coming from the heart of the snake-headed chaos god and demon. After breaking through the outer seal, a magical scene appeared in front of you. Surrounded by stars, the sun rises and the moon sets, and in the middle is a continent with a round sky and a small square. In this heart that is millions of feet in size, there is actually a small world. Although the central land mass is only nearly 1 million square kilometers, it is indeed a complete world. Su Junming separated a future body and traveled through the stars to the center of the world. The lush world has thin spiritual energy, and various animals that Su Junming has never seen live in it. No humans in sight. Soon, he found a stone house on the highest mountain in this miniature world. The shape of this stone house is the same as the stone palace he found on the island in the middle of Black Mirror Lake, but it is much smaller. The stone house only had simple restrictions, and Su Junming walked in. The inside is ordinary, with a futon in the middle. On the stone table in front of the futon were placed 3 volumes of jade dishes, a 3-foot-tall jade purification vase, and an oil lamp that illuminated the room. Jade purification bottles and oil lamps are only top-grade innate spiritual treasures. In today's Su Junming's eyes, it is no longer precious. He came forward and sat down on the futon. A warm feeling flows along the Wei Look point and directly to Beihui. The spirit is lifted and the mind becomes much clearer. This Taoist innate warm jade is enough to refine the Hunyuan spiritual treasure, but here it is reduced to nothing. The chaos demon god is indeed a person with a lot of wealth. Picking up a jade plate on the table and unfolding it, a line of divine text came into view. The true scripture of phantom gods. This is a volume of practice techniques of the way of illusion, directed towards the Hunyuan golden immortal. It was not that he had never seen the techniques for cultivating illusions before, but this was the first time he had seen the illusion techniques that were at the Hunyuan level and pointed directly at the Hunyuan golden immortal. Moreover, there are a lot of experiences recorded on this jade plate, especially the notes at the end of the Hunyuan chapter are relatively new. Combining the situation between himself and the snake-headed chaos god and demon, it is obvious that this is its main skill. At the position of the last presser foot, several divine inscriptions came into view. Ming Kang. Thanks to book friend 201807151354013336 for the reward of 2,200 starting coins. Thanks to the book friend Kuog1 for the 500 starting coin reward. Thanks to book friend Mind I plus equals for the reward of 100 starting coins. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1028. Fortunately, Su Junming, with the help of the Dian Divine Mirror, had a profound research on ancient divine texts. Coupled with the help of Dong Huangtai and Wangshu's collection of books, in today's prehistoric world, even those great gods left over from ancient times may not have as many divine texts as he knows. Master Ming Kang, it turns out his name is Ming Kang. After remembering the name, close the jade plate and put it aside. The entire second volume of the jade dish was yellowish-brown. As soon as it was opened, a sharp and tyrannical sword intent came out through the jade. The first 5 mysterious divine texts. Ji Tian 7 Sword Sutra. As mentioned before, Kendo is also a branch of martial arts. Therefore, the Jishin 7 Sword Sutra is actually a secret book of martial arts. If it can be put together with Phantom Nerve, it is obviously also a magic book directly referring to the Hunyuan Golden Immortal. Now I can understand the Hunyuan chapter of Chongshan Academy's martial arts secret book Pan Tuo Zhenjing. Read what follows. There are also records similar to cultivation experience in the middle, and the suffix is not Ming Kang, but Ji Tian. Obviously, this Jishin 7 Sword Sutra is the fundamental skill of this chaotic god and demon who practices swordsmanship. But for some reason, it fell into Ming Kang's hands. The jade plate in the third volume is obviously very old, and the slightly modeled jade pieces have become turbid. When he opened it, there was a kind of writing that he couldn't understand at all. His brows furrowed tightly. According to ancient records, from the beginning to the ancient times, and then to the ancient times, the universal writing was divine writing, which was a writing that evolved directly from the way of heaven. It was not until the Middle Ages that humans deduced eclipse texts from complex divine texts. After the ecliptic script, it came to the traditional script. After 3 major stages of evolution, it became the writing seen by later generations. But whether it is divine inscriptions, eclipse inscriptions, or traditional inscriptions, they are all very different from the words in the jade plate. My fingers carefully rubbed over the words, and a completely different charm flowed into my heart. This is definitely not something from the prehistoric world. Words are the evolution of heaven, carrying the breath of a world. The atmosphere of this text is completely different. Moreover, it reveals two different Taoist rhymes of the divine soul and darkness, which are obviously the methods of the divine soul and darkness. After careful consideration, if he had enough time, with the help of the Dian divine mirror, he could understand the meaning of these words. After all, words are the expression of the avenue. By understanding the great Dao, one can understand the meaning of these words. But this requires a lot of time. It seems like we need to torture that Ming Kang soul. This is the most time-saving and labor-saving method. And he also wanted to peep into the mysterious chaos from the other party's memory. He put away the 3 jade dishes and the oil lamp on the table. Although they were top-grade innate spiritual treasures, they were not precious and could not be used in his hands. From now on, it is the most appropriate use to stay in Chongshan Academy and let the disciples understand the charm of the flames. The same goes for the jade purification bottle next to it. When I subconsciously put these 2 treasures away, I suddenly stopped. Seal. I took the jade pure bottle over and found a stopper with divine patterns engraved on its cap. This jade purification bottle itself has the function of maintaining spiritual energy, plus a seal, which shows that Ming Kang attaches great importance to it. This made Su Junming curious. I want to see what treasure is inside. When I activated the Dian mirror, I saw 3 colors of light gold, silvery white and milky white. An extremely rich vitality filled it. Is this the 3 light divine water? A huge excitement surged from the bottom of my heart. The 3 light divine water is a spiritual water that contains infinite vitality. It has the magical effect of life and death, human flesh and bones, and is a supreme Hunyuan product. Together with Hunyuan true gold, Zhoshengzi soil, Qingtianshen Muo, and Zhuwei Shenhuo, they are the top spiritual objects in the 5 elements. He held it in his hand and shook it slightly, and a whimpering sound reached his ears. This is a treasure that is no less than the fundamental energy of innate creation in the beginning. Su Junming, who was very satisfied, surveyed left and right, and after missing nothing, he flew out of this small world. Coming outside, overlooking the huge corpses of gods and demons. Although this world is small, it still has infinite vitality. It would be unsightly to destroy it directly. The mind moves as it pleases. Kongshanju, which looks like a hill, flew out. The powerful pinching force quickly took in this small world. Step into Chongshan residence. As Su Junming's monastery, Chongshan residence is divided into 2 parts, inside and outside. The inner part is where the 2-story building and the courtyard are located. This place was opened up by Su Junming using the space method, and infinite space was opened up in a square inch. Although it looks like only a 2-story building, if the space inside is fully expanded, it will be larger than nearly 100 earthly immortal worlds. The 2-story building is located on the top of a hill, surrounded by a plain and lake, and 6 peaks at the outermost edge. The size is equivalent to a small world. Su Junming set up a forbidden law here, and this world cannot be expanded. Although the aura is rich, the animals here cannot become monsters because of the existence of forbidden laws. This is just a place for Su Junming to relax and relax after enlightenment. With a wave of your hand, the small world located in Ming Kang's heart seamlessly blends into this new world. The outer stars also blend into the starry sky around the world. It can be seen that the fog outside Kongshanju is much thicker. After doing this, I came to the quiet room of Chongshan residence. Sitting down cross-legged, with a thought in his heart, Ban Mu Qingyun flew out from the top door. 3 azure lotuses bloomed. From these 3 lotuses, we can see that Su Junming's fundamental technique was born out of the Shangqing Dao. It is different from the navy blue lotus of Shangqing Dao, but a completely different azure color. Floating on the lotus in the middle are a series of natal treasures such as the Hunyuan Divine Gate, Pan Tuo Divine Spear, and Tianji Divine Ball. On the lotuses on both sides are Xianyuan water control flag, Pangu sword, Dushan god demon flag and other spiritual treasures. Suddenly, a gourd seedling flew down from the lotus on the right. This is the innate gourd vine. It took Su Junming 30 million years to cultivate it to its current level. After 30 million cultivation, this top innate spiritual root has been completely tied to his soul. The two parties are like Zhenyuanzi, which is equivalent to the ginseng fruit tree. It can not only suppress the luck, but also clear up the turbidity and assist in practice. After all, there is no innate spiritual energy in today's prehistoric world. Various innate spiritual roots are almost the only ones that can produce innate spiritual energy. As the top innate spiritual root, calabash vine can even produce the innate spiritual energy of the beginning. This top-notch spiritual energy has disappeared from the world since the end of the Taoist era. Take out the jade purification bottle you just got, contemplate it for a moment, and unlock the seal inside. An extremely rich innate water spiritual energy emerged. The three-light divine water contains good fortune, is rich in vitality, and is extremely precious. Su Junming drew it casually, and water flowing in three colors, pale gold, silver, and aqua blue, gurgled out. Sensing the existence of this divine water, the gourd vine instantly trembled, and a strong desire poured into Su Junming's heart. This is a biological desire. With a finger, the three-light divine water flowed into the gourd vine, and the originally 9-foot-tall gourd vine grew rapidly. The gourd vine, which is as thick as an adult's thigh, becomes thicker, darker, and tougher. The gourd leaves, which were the size of a water tank, expanded rapidly and soon exceeded the size of the house. 10 feet, 30 feet, 100 feet, 200 feet. It wasn't until 300 feet later that he slowly stopped. The three-light divine water accumulated in the jade pure vase for countless years is almost exhausted. The color of the gourd vine also changed from the light green to dark green, obviously entering the growth stage. Suddenly, a burst of enlightenment appeared in my heart. The mind moves as it pleases. The 12 fundamental talismans in Danshan trembled. Soon, a bronze gourd flower appeared near the root of the gourd vine, and then quickly grew into a half-sized bronze gourd. The rich charm of Tiangong Taoism blooms from it. A milky white gourd flower appeared on the top. After growing rapidly, it gradually formed a small milky white gourd, and the rich charm of the Tao of creation spread out. Immediately afterwards, a sky blue gourd flower appeared, and slowly, a small sky blue gourd the size of a fingertip grew out. Behind them are crystal-colored gourd flowers, which also sprout small gourds. Behind them are navy blue gourd flowers, growing out small navy blue gourds. 3 small gourds respectively emit space, time, and seal, 3 kinds of Taoist rhyme. Then there are bright yellow gourd flowers, colorful gourd flowers, red gourd flowers, black and white gourd flowers, 5-color gourd flowers, black gourd flowers, and bloody gourd flowers. Corresponding respectively to the imperial Dao, the soul Dao, the martial Dao, the yin and yang Dao, the Dao of creation, the 5 elements Dao, the devouring Dao and the cause and effect Dao. 5 gourds and 7 gourd flowers correspond to Su Junming's 12 fundamental Taoist methods. The 5 gourds correspond to the 5 avenues of Su Junming's enlightenment to the Hunyuan realm. Tiangong Dao is the strongest, so the gourd is the largest. The path of creation is second, and is slightly smaller. Space, time, and seals have not been promoted to Hunyuan for a long time, so they are just a small gourd and are still early to mature. After the 5 gourds and 7 gourd flowers were finalized, the gourd vine flew up instantly and fell straight towards the lotus in the middle of Su Junming. The Hunyuan divine gate and the Pantuo divine spear, which originally had the hedgehogs gathered on them, were wrapped by the gourd roots, slowly shrank, and gradually disappeared without a trace. Visible to the naked eye, the originally somewhat illusory shells of the 5 small gourds quickly became solid. After a long time, everything stabilized. The gourd vines are lush and full of vitality. 5 gourds and 7 gourd flowers are sparkling, auspicious and full of Taoist charm. Su Junming saw this and felt happy in his heart. With a thought in his heart, the bronze gourd instantly turned into a furnace cauldron, the next moment it turned into a hammer, then it turned into a mirror, and soon it turned into a file, and finally it turned into a gourd again. The 4 transformations correspond to the 4 natal magical powers of Tiangong Dao. Distinguish the essence: Tiangong Divine Furnace, Pao Ding Ji Niu, and Tiangong Divine Hammer. With a wave of his hand, the bronze gourd flew back to the gourd vine, fitting tightly, just like when it was first born. I waved again, and the sky blue gourd flew over. Although it is small, its aura is equivalent to a low-grade Hunyuan Lingbao. The internal space is no less than the original Hunyuan Zhenman. 4 complex divine patterns are engraved inside the gourd, representing the 4 natal magical powers of space that Su Junming understood. Bridge of the Void, Sumarena Mustard Seed, Blade of the Void, and Space Collapse. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1029. After some attempts, the look of satisfaction on Su Junming's face became even stronger. From this moment on, Calabash Vine is truly bound to his soul. It not only has the best innate spiritual roots, the ability to sort out turbidity and assist in spiritual practice, it can also give birth to 12 natal spiritual treasures. And as his cultivation continues to improve and his Taoism improves, the 12 gourds will continue to grow. Of course, both gourd vines and gourds require a huge amount of spiritual energy to grow. What a pity for my Hunyuan divine sect and Pantuo divine spear. It's a huge gain, and a little blemish doesn't hurt. Reaching out to pick up the jade purification bottle, the 3 light divine water originally filled had been used up. In addition, he also understood the only function of this jade purification bottle. Every 60 years, a drop of 3 light divine water will be generated inside. No wonder Ming Kang kept it. 1 minute and 1 drop of 3 light divine water seems not too long for Su Junming, who has been in seclusion for tens of millions of years. After putting this treasure away, look at the oil lamp next to it. There is nothing surprising about the pure fire attribute treasure. Maybe Ming Kang really just used it for lighting. Su Junming does not have that luxury. This top-grade innate spiritual treasure called the Red Flame Lamp will be placed in the main courtyard of Chongshan Academy. Together with the innate spiritual treasures he collected from the corpses of the Lich War, he placed them in the Lingbao Hall for Chongshan disciples to comprehend. Putting away the Red Flame Lamp, the Kongqing Divine Stone, the Magical Divine Pearl, and the Ming Kang Scepter appeared on the table. The former is the top Space Dao Hunyuan treasure material, and the latter 2 are high-grade Hunyuan spirit treasures, especially the Fantasy God Pearl. As Ming Kang's natal spiritual treasure, it contains 9 innate spiritual forbidden materials, and can be called the top high-grade Hunyuan spirit treasure. Yuan Lingbao. The Ming Kang Scepter is not bad either, and it can be made with so much chaos divine iron in a luxurious way. In Su Junming's eyes, it is simply a waste of resources. If his or Taoist Tiangong's weapon refining abilities were further advanced, the same materials would be enough to refine the top-quality Hunyuan spiritual treasure. After pondering for a while, he waved his hand, and the Kongqing Divine Stone slowly flew up and was absorbed by the space gourd in the gourd vine. With the assistance of the Dian Divine Mirror, Su Jun's Mingdao progress far exceeded his peers, but the growth of top-quality spiritual roots was extremely slow. If the gourd vine is to absorb spiritual energy by itself and supply 12 gourd flowers to grow, it will take hundreds of millions of years. Too slow. Su Junming couldn't wait so long. Therefore, human intervention becomes inevitable. As the top space spiritual object, the Kongqing Divine Stone has enough space for the gourd to grow into the best Hunyuan spiritual treasure. If the spiritual energy that was supposed to supply the growth of the 12 gourds is allocated to the 11 gourds, their growth rate will of course be much faster. The Mingkang scepter also flew into the gourd flower, which represents martial arts. As a killing weapon, he already has the Pangu sword gifted by Yang Mei, which is also a top-grade Hunyuan spiritual treasure. This Mingkang scepter cannot be used, so it is useless to leave it alone. It is better to use it to nourish martial arts gourd flowers and accelerate the growth of gourd vines. Such abundant chaos divine iron is enough for the martial arts gourd to grow to the peak of Hunyuan. As for the magic ball, it remained. Although he does not practice the illusion Dao, this treasure will be of great use in the future after he advances to the Hunyuan Xianxian in the creation Dao. Point your finger. A large four-legged bronze cauldron emerged from the void. The tyrannical power overwhelms all directions. Inside the huge cauldron, there were 12 mountain-like snake heads on half of the body, and the black scales were dripping with blood, which was extremely miserable. Thick chains locked the snake's head tightly. As if aware of Su Junming's consciousness, all the snake heads began to struggle. Crash! The sound of chains was earth-shattering. The huge mouth opened, as if it could swallow even the sky. The ferocious fangs are like razors, sharp and terrifying. A fierce green light shot out from the planet-like snake pupils. Junior, come out, I can feel your soul. How dare you be so arrogant with only half a broken body left? The majestic voice echoed in the huge cauldron space, majestic and domineering. Junior, I fall into your hands today, and I admit defeat. Let my soul go, and I can give you a treasure. Haha, Mingkang, do you think I'm a 3-year-old? Are you coaxing me into a circle with just a few words? The huge snake eyes flashed with light. I can swear an oath that I will never deceive you. And since you have gone to my dojo, you can find the book 7 Demonic Nerves on the table. I accidentally got this secret strategy in the chaos, and with it along with it is a treasure no less than the chaos bell. Since there is such a treasure, why wouldn't you stay by my side? That treasure is a heavenly treasure from another Hunyuan world. It is called the God-killing spear. It kills so much that it is not tolerated by heaven, so I put it into chaos. As long as you let my soul go, I will take it with you. You go and collect this treasure. Seeing Su Junming's silence, Mingkang turned to threaten. You fought against the ancient black dragon in Black Mirror Lake. It was just a clone of me. Even if you kill me here today, my other clone will still inherit my true flexibility. So, you can't kill me. Instead of provoking an enemy in the Hunyuan realm who won't stop fighting, why not let me go in exchange for a valuable treasure? After taking a deep look at the bound demon god Mingkang, his consciousness dissipated and his figure disappeared. Junior. The sound gradually disappeared, but the Kinkanding transformed by Dian Divine Mirror was still trembling. Holding up the cauldron, the surrounding scenery changed, and an empty hall appeared in front of him. As his mind moved, a black pagoda slowly flew down. The divine pattern of the word purgatory on the top of the pagoda is majestic and thick. Grabbing the cauldron and shaking it, Mingkang's remains were instantly swallowed by the pagoda. Boom! The pagoda pressed down, as if an ancient giant mountain had pressed down. The big cauldron turned into a blue light like water mirror again, and was taken into Danshan by Su Junming. This purgatory tower was built by him as a place to suppress powerful enemies. It was blessed by countless treasures and spiritual roots throughout Chongshan residence. Not to mention a half-broken demon god of Mingkang, even the Hunyuan Xianxian was suppressed and could not escape. He sighed lightly. The reason why he suppressed Mingkang was not to kill him. Not for the so-called god-killing spear, but for the precious memories in his sea of consciousness. It's a pity that his current cultivation level is only in the late stage of Deluo Jinxian, and his soul Dao and Daoxing have not yet entered Hunyuan, so he can't help Ming Kang Hunyuan true immortal level soul at all. It can only be suppressed for the time being. After putting away the remains of Ming Kang and the decaying body of the Chaos God and Demon, he came outside, examining the huge stone palace. This is good stuff too. It is completely carved out of a single piece of Chaos Divine Stone. Only the Chaos Gods and Demons could pull off such a reckless method. Fortunately, the stone palace was so hard that it was not destroyed by the fighting between the two. With Su Junming's current weapon refining ability, he can already use the Chaos Divine Stone to refine treasures. But he already had enough treasures in his hand that he had no use for them. As for the world of Chongshan, it is not in this time and space. Forget it, let's use it for the growth of the gourd vine. This kind of treasure made of solidified chaotic spiritual energy is most suitable for innate spiritual roots. Slowly walking out of the stone palace, looking at the beautiful island outside and the black mirror lake reflecting the skylight in the distance, like a mirror. The scenery is indescribably beautiful. As a dojo in the dark, although the spiritual energy here is not as good as that of 36 cave heavens, it is not inferior to ordinary blessed places. Under this island, there is even more spiritual energy. It can be said that this is the core of the black fog swamp that stretches for trillions of miles. Moreover, it is protected by countless poisons and poisonous miasma in the periphery, so it is very safe. Unless there is a treasure like the Shabi Corpse God banner that can ward off poison, even Hunyuan monks will have difficulty entering. In the future, we can use this place as a branch dojo of Chongshan Academy. Although the swamp is full of poisonous miasma, there are also many treasures that are difficult to find in the outside world. Feeling the tranquility of this place, Su Junming, who had traveled in the wilderness for many years and experienced a war, also aroused the idea of quiet cultivation. There are no jiazi in the mountains, and it is so cold that I don't know the year. In the blink of an eye, another 300,000 years have passed. Monks in the Deluo Jingxian realm often take 10,000 years as a unit if they want to make progress in their enlightenment and practice. Not to mention ordinary people, even many immortals have been reincarnated for dozens of lives. It's no wonder that the Deluo immortals who have been cultivating for many years are so high up in the sky, overlooking the society, and regard the monks below Deluo as ants. Su Junming sat cross-legged in the center of the stone hall. There are half an acre of clouds overhead, and 3 azure lotuses are blooming. On a lotus in the middle, a gourd vine grows windingly. Among the branches and vines, there are 5 small gourds and 7 gourd flowers. The auspicious colors and bursts of rays of light bloom from the gourd vines, which is extremely magical. On the gourd vine, 3 gourd leaves form a reed platform, supporting an unusually simple bronze mirror. The lotus on the left holds a hill covered with clouds and mist, a navy blue sheathed sword, a light ball with flashing auras, a bagua disc, a pair of black wings, and a black triangle. Small flag. It is Kongshan Jidojo, the top-grade Hunyuan spiritual treasure Pangu sword and the magical divine ball, the destiny spiritual treasure Tianji divine ball, the wind spiritual treasure and the sword spiritual treasure black god sword wings, as well as the 45 forbidden top-grade innate Lingbao Swanuan water flag. As for the Tiangong divine furnace and the creation spirit pond, they have been completely embedded in Chongshan residence. They are no longer separate spiritual treasures, nor are they his natal spiritual treasures. On the lotus on the far right, there are not as many things as there are on the left. The 16-sided banners of gods and demons are shining brightly. Suddenly, the originally calm breath began to fluctuate violently. Light cyan auras slowly bloomed from Su Junming's body, who was sitting cross-legged in meditation, reflecting the entire stone palace in green. Suddenly, the gourd vines emitted a mysterious light, all the gods and demons roared loudly, and the auras of the major spiritual treasures swelled. An unimaginably powerful force soared into the sky. Su Junming's Taoist robe bulged like a ball, his long hair stood on end, and his whole person was shrouded in a tyrannical aura. The whole process lasted for 7 days before slowly stopping. The aura faded, the Qingyun dispersed, and Su Junming slowly opened his eyes. The profound gaze, across the sky, slowly became dull. Feeling the full mana in his body, he nodded with satisfaction. Delugo Jinxian has reached his peak. This is the last realm of Delugo Jinxian. Completing the cultivation of this realm is perfection, and you can go through the great tribulation of Hunyuan. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1030. Chapter 1110 Liaishan Clan, Part 1. Su Jun is a dual practitioner of martial arts and Taoism. Every small step in his cultivation requires almost 1,000 times as much time as an ordinary Qi practitioner. Fortunately, with the help of the Calabash Vine spiritual root, he could also refine various spiritual elixirs to assist him. Coupled with the Dian Divine Mirror and the great magical power of the Tao of Time, he was able to make further progress within 300,000 years. And there is also a foundation laid in the past 30 million years. Otherwise, it would take 3 times more time to break through. In view of the time, energy, and huge resources required to practice the two paths, he also thought about giving up martial arts. After all, he had reached the peak of cultivation alone and his strength was still astonishing. And with the resources he currently has at his disposal, in the same amount of time and with his current cultivation, he can definitely become a Hunyuan celestial immortal. But every time this thought came up, he quickly killed it. Especially in the memory of Pangu Yuanling, he saw him using Pangu axe to destroy 3,000 chaos demon gods in a shocking battle. The idea of cultivating both martial arts and Tao became even more determined. Having so many resources but not being able to become the strongest is a failure for yourself. After letting out a long sigh, he collected his magic power and slowly stood up. Step out of the house and look at the lush islands and the calm black mirror lake in the distance. After staying for many years, I also had the idea of leaving. He reached out and pointed, and saw the bright light in the stone palace behind him. Within a moment, a tall and thin middle-aged man wearing a navy blue robe, holding a bamboo stick and wearing a golden crown walked over. Teacher. Looking at the disciple in front of him, Su Junming smiled and nodded. This son's name is Chao Yangfeng, the 8th Delugo Jinxian newly promoted to Chongshan Academy in the past 300,000 years. Nowadays, the entire Chongshan Academy is managed by the executive committee composed of 7 great Lugo Jinxian, Bai Zhangling, Dating Zhangshan, Feng Zhanjian, Shui Zhangyang, Ji Zhanjiao, Gong Lingfeng, and Ji Xuanyu. Those who have Chao Yangfeng become Delugo Jinxian are naturally qualified to join them. However, the greater the number of people, the less efficient the executive committee is. Therefore, although Yoshio Yangfeng received the honorific title of deacon, he could not participate in the final decision-making. In order to avoid internal classification, letting him guard this black fog swamp became the best choice. Moreover, without Delugo Jinxian's cultivation, he could not stop those poisonous insects and ferocious beasts outside like wolves and tigers. Get up. Opening his left palm, an oil lamp slowly emerged and flew to Yoshio Yangfeng. This lamp is called the Purple Sun Lamp. It is the Hunyuan spiritual treasure of the 3 realms. I will give it to you today. During the Lich War, Su Junming, who was responsible for collecting corpses, harvested too many treasures. Even after equipping each of the 16 demon gods with magic weapons, there are still many left. In addition, now that he and Taoist Tiangong can refine weapons, the Hunyuan spiritual treasure in his hands will be even more abundant. Feeling the powerful flames in the oil lamp in front of you, Yoshio Yangfeng was excited. Although he had known for a long time that every disciple of Chongshan who was promoted to Delugo Jinxian would have the Hunyuan spiritual treasure given by the ancestor, he had also looked forward to it infinitely. Now the moment has finally arrived. Holding the spiritual treasure in hand, his tone was sincere. Thank you very much for the treasure, my mentor. After smiling and nodding. What do you think of this place? As early as when he came out of the teleportation array, Yu Shi Yangfeng had observed the surrounding situation. The environment is quiet, the scenery is stunning, and the spiritual energy is rich. It can be called an excellent holy land for spiritual practice. After Su Junming nodded, this place is located at the core of a large swamp that stretches tens of trillions of miles across. I discovered it by accident. There used to be an ancient poisonous dragon in the realm of Hunyuan celestial immortal, but I have now removed it. Yoshio Yangfeng's heart skipped a beat. The great power of Hunyuan is the existence second only to the monks in the ancient world, and has an extraordinary status. My teacher can kill such a being, his perseverance is unbelievable. As for bragging, given his understanding of the teacher, he would definitely not be able to do such a thing. As you said, it is a pity to abandon this holy land of cultivation. Now I have set up a large formation here, and with the protection of the surrounding poisonous miasma, it is safe enough. In the future, this will be my Chongshan villa, and you will sit here. After a million years, return to the section. Disciple, obey. With a finger, a spiritual light flew into the sea of Chaoyang wind consciousness. This is a detailed explanation of the terrain around the Black Mist Swamp and the protective formation. You should make good use of it. In addition, there will be disciples who will come here to practice in the future, and you need to protect them. Yes. Practice well and advance to Hunyuan one day. I will give you another valuable treasure. After a respectful response, there was silence for a while. When I looked up again, I saw that the figure of the teacher was already flying away. He breathed a sigh of relief, looked around for a moment, looked at the formation left by the teacher in his mind, and prepared to go out and take a look at the surrounding situation. Jingle. The bell rang crisply, and an ox suddenly appeared in the forest. But I saw it falling in one step. Although the grass and trees were tilted, it was not broken. One step forward and 100 feet will pass. On the left corner of the board, there is a copper bell hanging, and the clear ringing sound comes from here. Lying on the back of the ox is a Taoist wearing green linen clothes, dormant shoes, and a green gourd tied around his waist. A bamboo hat covered his head and face, making it difficult to see his appearance. The body swayed as the cow stepped, but it always lay on it calmly. Suddenly, Yellow Ox stopped. Master! Speak in a respectful tone. The Taoist lying on the back of the cow muffled, What's wrong? There is someone in front of me. Judging from the aura, although he has not entered Deluo, he is already at the peak of Tai's cultivation. Uniutu, there are many human races in the eastern wasteland, and there are even more humans with Tai cultivation level. Is there anything strange about it? Master, you know that I, Old Niu, have the ability to be very successful. This man has profound merits and virtues that are not comparable to those of ordinary monks. Are you good at looking at Qi? There was a hint of teasing in his tone. There was a hint of shock on Huang Niu's face. My master has extraordinary magical powers and powerful methods. He has restrained his aura to every detail. That's why I, the old cow, didn't notice it. Otherwise, how could I dare to pick out your tiger beard? The word smooth-tongued is really a good one. Taking it out of his pocket, a Chinese-shaped face with thick eyebrows and big eyes was revealed, with a deep gaze that seemed to suck in the sunlight from the sky. An incomprehensible majesty exuded. It was Su Junming who came all the way south. This scalper was a blind bull demon that he picked up on the road. Seeing that his evil deeds were not serious, he took him in to take care of him. One person and one cow have been together for 3,000 years. He turned over and sat up, patting the cow on the back. Let's go over and have a look. The oxen responded, crossing thousands of feet in 2 or 3 steps, and came to a hillside. Sure enough, lying in the grass was a tall, muscular middle-aged man wearing linen clothes. There was a medicine basket hanging on his waist, which already contained many medicinal herbs. "Master, is this guy poisoned?" Su Junming got off the cow and picked up a 3-foot-tall grass from the opponent's hand, with purple-red leaves, oval leaves, and black patterns. Without putting it to the tip of your nose, you can clearly smell the sweet aroma emanating from this grass. Looking at the grass barley that was obviously missing a part, Su Junming shook his head. Medicine does not distinguish between poison and poison. He is proficient in medicine and naturally knows the path of poison very well. This purple-red grass is called purple centipede, and it is a poisonous grass that absorbs the saliva of the ancient poisonous insect purple centipede. If he eats it, not to mention Tai Golden Immortal, even Deluo Tianxian will fall. When I activated the Dian Divine Mirror, I saw a mighty golden light of merit rising into the sky. A dazzling 33-story exquisite pagoda of merit and virtue appeared above this person's head. Sure enough, there are a lot of merits. Su Junming was surprised in his heart. He went through several worlds, and gained a wave of merit from the Lich War, before he accumulated 3 exquisite merit towers. Even Emperor Fuxi was a step behind him. I never thought that this person also had it. With a pat of the green gourd on his waist, a pale white detoxifying pill flew into this man's mouth. But after a while, the thick purple poisonous gas on his face gradually dissipated, and the person woke up. Seeing the middle-aged Taoist standing opposite and the extraordinary scalper next to him, the middle-aged man understood. He bowed and saluted, his tone full of gratitude. "Zhang Shinian, Liashan clan of the human race, would like to thank Senior for saving his life." Liashan clan. Su Junming's heart moved. "This purple centipede is a poisonous weed, why do you want to eat it?" Returning to my predecessors, I have observed that there are many people in the human tribe who have died of illness. Ingestion of poisonous substances is the most common among the many diseases. I have tasted the poisonous weeds and listed its appearance and characteristics as much as possible, and passed it on to the tribe, so that people can advance in advance. Be careful and don't make the same mistakes again. After Su Junming nodded, "Have you ever thought about how to detoxify someone who is poisoned?" "Of course I have thought about it. But the medicinal properties of each herb are different. Which herbs can be combined to detoxify and eliminate diseases? Which one is more and which one is less? I don't know, so I can only try it little by little. It takes a lot of time. In comparison, labeling poisonous weeds is much simpler and can have an immediate effect." "You are indeed a wise person," Su Junming smiled. Zhang Shinian suddenly fell to his knees and spoke sincerely. "Senior can detoxify me from the grass poison, so he must be proficient in pharmacology. I would like to worship my senior as my teacher and ask my senior to teach me the medical knowledge." Looking at Zhang Shinian, who was kneeling on the ground, Su Junming had a deep thought in his eyes. "Who taught you the skills you practice?" "This technique is passed down from our ancestors, the Liashan clan, and has not been taught by anyone else." Su Junming was proficient in the way of the soul, and from the fluctuations in Zhang Shinian's soul, he realized that he was not lying. This son has profound merits. Regardless of whether he is Liashan Chenin or not, it will be of great benefit to me to accept him. But after thinking about it for a while, I shook my head secretly. The master of the 3 emperors has such a prominent position that he either accepts disciples from the original Sanking master or becomes his direct disciple. If he interfered, he would instantly attract Sanking's attention. He has not yet advanced to Hunyuan, and the Dushan god and demon formation does not have the power to compete with the saint. It is difficult to say how the 3 churches would respond to rashly seizing such great merit. Especially Yuan Shi Tianzun, this is a ruthless man who can even kill his own brothers. Before advancing to the Hunyuan realm, you still need to be patient. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1031. Of course, patience doesn't mean doing nothing. Looking at Zhang Shinian, who was kneeling on the ground, he waved his sleeves and a force that was still there but could not resist lifted him up. Since you have the heart to help the world, I will teach you the medical knowledge. As soon as these words came out, Zhang Shinian, who was already desperate, instantly became happy. Disciple, thank you, master. He waved his hand. You don't need to call me master. My lineage is not suitable for you. Someone will teach you how to practice in the future. You stay with me for 100 years, and I will teach you medical skills within 100 years. It's up to you how much you can learn. Teacher. He stretched out his hand and pointed, and a rein suddenly appeared on the ox's neck. Zhang Shinian understood instantly and stepped forward to hold the reins. Only scalpers are still confused. If you accept a disciple, just accept one. What's the point of putting a rope around my head? I remember that the Ox King was also the overlord of Wanli Huofeng Mountain back then. Especially the rope is gray and black, which does not match the beautiful yellow hair on its body at all. No, it is ugly. When I was getting angry, my head was suddenly pulled. He raised his head, and a face covered in dust with disheveled hair came into his eyes. The breeze blew, and the messy long hair on the temples swayed, and the big face, darkened by the sun, looked even more sloppy. There was a calm expression in a pair of small eyes. Yellow Ox subconsciously wanted to laugh at this guy's embarrassment. Before he could speak, he saw the other party's lips parting. Oh! He grabbed the reins and pulled, but the cow didn't move. Zhang Shinian was confused. Was he shouting wrong? He remembered that the cows in the tribe all shouted like this. Soon it dawned on him. The teacher's cow must be extraordinary, so drive. I'm a cow, not a stupid mule. Angry voices sounded in Zhang Shinian's mind. Come on, what are you talking about? Su Junming slapped him down, and Huang Niu immediately frowned, his anger disappeared, and he walked forward obediently. After getting along with each other for 3,000 years, it knew how terrifying the strength of the person on its back was. Therefore, when the master opens his mouth, the scalpers will obey. Zhang Shinian quickly followed and led the ox forward. After traveling hundreds of thousands of miles over mountains and ridges, a vast plain appeared in front of us. You can see countless simple villages and cities, scattered in an orderly manner across the vast land. Teacher, this is our Liaishan clan. Su Junming nodded. It looks like you have a lot of dicks. Almost 3 capitals, Zhang Shinian said with pride on his face. Sanjing? That's a lot. The prehistoric counting units are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, billion, trillion, jing, gai, zi, rang, ditch, stream, zheng, load. 3 capitals means 30,000 trillion. You can imagine the huge population. Su Junming has traveled through the wilderness for many years, and apart from the Fuxi clan, he has never seen a tribe whose population exceeds that of the Liaishan clan. Of course, the Bai clan, Yosheo clan, Feng clan, Dating clan, Shui clan, Fang clan, etc. in the Bazaoshan area do not count the 18 tribes who first followed Su Junming. Among them, the smallest one has a population of 300, while the largest one, Chao, has a population of 80. The combined population of all Buzhu mountain areas is close to 1. Su Junming didn't know the number of the entire Donghuang human race. Even if it was more than the Bazaoshan human race, it was still very limited. After all, farming supports far more people than hunting. It seems that the Liaishan clan has already focused on planting. Teacher's insight is correct. Except for the villages near the mountains, they basically grow 5-color rice. 5-color rice? Not yellow rice. Five-colored rice was accidentally discovered by a disciple when he was tasting herbs in Wushan 100,000 years ago. It was then promoted within the clan. The Liaoshan clan also got rid of fishing and hunting, and thrived on this plain between mountains and seas, and became increasingly prosperous. As for the teacher, this disciple has never heard of the yellow rice. Su Junming nodded slightly and thought to himself. I don't know whether it is because it is too far away and has not spread from Huangqiu, or whether Fuxi intends to use Huangliang Lingmai to strengthen his clan first, establish an unquestionable absolute advantage, and consolidate the Fuxi clan's dominance before spreading abroad. Based on his contact with Fuxi, I'm afraid the latter is the majority. This holy emperor, who was touted by countless scholars in later generations, was actually an emperor who ruled over tens of thousands of human tribes. He must be proficient in the imperial power art of intrigue and balancing interests. But no matter what, Su Junming and Chongshan have left Huangqiu. Let's go. Although Zhang Shinian wanted to ask what yellow rice was, but seeing the teacher's calm and majestic expression, he hesitated and did not speak. After leading the cattle down the hillside for thousands of miles, the surrounding land became flat. The two sides are no longer grassy and sandy slopes, but neatly groomed fields. Planted inside are green plants half as tall as a man. At first glance, they look very similar to rice from later generations. But nourished by spiritual energy, he is taller, thicker, and stronger. Is this the five-color rice? Yes. It's May now, and the five-color rice is still growing. In July, it will grow to 5 feet tall and begin to ear. In October, the rice will begin to bloom in 5 colors, red, white, green, yellow, and black. Then he is mature. Do you have 5-color rice seeds here? There are some. Give me a few. After Zhang Shinian nodded, he took out a yellow-skinned gourd from the bag. After opening it, he shook it twice and rolled out 5 or 6 oval-shaped, peanut-sized seeds that shone with 5-color auras. Innate Qi. This is the first generation of rice I collected after I discovered colorful rice. Most of it was used to make seeds, and some are left here. If the teacher wants it, feel free to take it. Looking at the yellow-skinned gourd handed to him and the sincere look on Zhang Shinian's face, Su Junming smiled faintly and took 3 grains of rice from his hand. 3 pills are enough for me. Teacher. He waved his hand to interrupt him. No need to say more, I have my own sense of discretion. Zhang Shinian hesitated for a moment and said nothing more. Collect the gourd and put it into the French bag. Twist a grain of rice and feel it carefully. Is its mother plant a low-grade innate spiritual root? Teacher's dharma is correct, that's right. Su Junming nodded slowly. Judging from the smell of the seed, if it takes root and sprouts, the rice that grows will definitely be 100 times stronger than that in the field next to it. The aura is richer and more suitable for monks to plant. But the rice seedlings that ripen once a year in the fields next to them are more suitable for ordinary people to plant. Only when the yield is sufficient can we eat enough. No wonder we have an exquisite merit pagoda. It seems to promote the merits of this colorful rice. Let's go. A group of people came to the village. The few old men at the entrance of the village all looked respectful when they saw Zhang Shinian. Young patriarch. No need to be polite, I'm just passing by. It wasn't until I left the village that those respectful faces disappeared. It seems you are well respected here. It made the teacher laugh. On the contrary, I am very happy. It is not easy to get the heartfelt respect of even an ordinary person. This has nothing to do with cultivation, but with character and virtue. No monk will reject a disciple with outstanding moral character. The teacher is over-reputed, and the disciple is ashamed. Su Junming smiled and didn't say much. Moving forward, after passing through thousands of villages, we finally came to a big city. The city in front of them was blocked by giant trees that were hundreds of feet thick and thousands of feet high. The middle of the 2 rows of huge trees was tamped with earth. Finally, it was reinforced with formation restrictions, making it impregnable. At this time, there was no concept of a moat, but just this tall city wall was enough to make people despair. There is no tower on the 300-foot wide city gate. The city gate is made of thick and giant wood and is dragged by 2,000-foot-long 6-tusked elephants. Each of the thick iron ropes is comparable to the office buildings of later generations. On the huge city wall, Laotian warriors wearing red leather armor and holding weapons performed their duties faithfully. Young Patriarch. The young patriarch is back. Seeing Zhang Shinian, the people entering and leaving the city, as well as the soldiers guarding them, all shouted. I didn't expect so many people to like this brat. John secretly murmured in his heart. Su Junming was also surprised by the respect that everyone around him had for Zhang Shinian. That kind of respect from the heart was so rare. But considering the other party's identity, it's not surprising. The people who had been blocking the front all got out of the way and came to the city gate. A tall man of 2 feet, wearing maroon leather armor, a tiger head hat on his head, and a centipede-like scar on his left cheek, looked fierce. Strode forward to welcome him. Before he even got close, the scorching heat brought by the strong and unbridled masculine blood was already hitting his face. The razor-like fierce eyes swept over Su Junming's body before he bowed and saluted. You first meet the young patriarch. General A, please rise. This is my new master. The cold eyes filled with evil spirits looked directly at Su Junming. Over the years, too many incompetent guys have come to our door and want to accept our young patriarch as a disciple. The young patriarch may have been deceived. Let me, the first of you, prove your worth first. Boom. Tyrannical energy and blood rose into the sky, and an iron spear as thick as a goose egg appeared in his right hand. Your strong armor is like an ancient ferocious beast, with a fierce and ferocious power, rushing towards Su Junming like lightning. The spear in his hand was like a bolt of lightning, stabbing straight into his chest. You, General A, can't. Zhang Shinian was shocked and turned pale. Just when he was about to stop him, he found that an invisible force covered his body. No matter how he resisted, he could not move even half a minute. Soon a shocking scene appeared in the eyes of everyone around. Yuchia, who was fierce and domineering, suddenly stopped. The frightening tiger-killing spear in his hand was blocked by the fair-looking right hand of the Taoist riding on the back of an ox. The sharp spear tip is less than 3 inches from the palm of the hand. But even this 3-inch distance seems like the end of the world. Even though your face is red from holding back your armor and the energy and blood in your body is like smoke, you can't get even an inch closer. Su Junming smiled lightly and flicked his fingers. Ding. Crisp and sweet. But your armor seemed to have been slapped by the tail of an ancient dragon and flew backwards like lightning. After flying for dozens of miles, boom hit the second-level city wall. The city wall, which was made entirely of bluestone and supported by formations, shook 3 times and almost collapsed. The power of one finger is so terrifying. Thanks to book friend Rogue Angel 520 for the reward of 233 starting coins. Thanks to book friend Clan, Memories for the 100 starting coin reward. Thanks to book friend 5JXWZ for the 100 starting coin reward. Thanks to the book friend Stillcom for the reward of 100 starting coins. Thanks to the book friend I Love Tigers for the 100 starting coin reward. Thank you so much. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1032. Everyone around looked at Su Junming with fear in their eyes. General Yujia is also famous in Laotian city. With his perfect martial arts cultivation, he is only one step away from becoming a powerful general. It was such an existence, but it was flicked away by that Taoist. You are the first general. Zhang Shinian was shocked, but he was imprisoned by the teacher's magic power and could not move at all. Don't worry, with his martial arts skills, this injury is nothing, Su Junming said calmly. Teacher wrong, I have no intention of offending you, General A, but... He waved his hand to interrupt him. No need to say more. I haven't planned to argue with a junior yet. With a wave of his sleeve, the seal on Zhang Shinian disappeared instantly. Just as he was about to apologize, he went to check on Yujia's injuries, but the latter had already slowly flown over. However, compared to the fierce and powerful look just now, when facing Su Junming again, there was more fear in his eyes and a little more caution in his expression. He can be suppressed with one finger, and the opponent's cultivation level has obviously reached an unimaginable level. Now am I qualified to be the teacher of your young patriarch? Your A's face turned red and he didn't dare to speak. In the future, Taoist priest, please come to the Red Emperor Shrine to have a talk. An old voice came from afar. It's the clan leader. Lord Yandi. Everyone exclaimed. Su Junming smiled calmly, let's go. Zhang Shinian nodded, and the former scalper walked in front. At this time, there was no Wang Cheng. After crossing the city gate, there were simple houses built with trees. It was indeed simple, built entirely of logs, with the top covered with animal skins and simply tied with animal sinews. Such a house would be a hunter's cabin in later generations, but here it is indeed Yanchinj, the ancestral home of the Liaoshan clan. Probably because it is located in the south and has a hot climate, Liaoshan's names are all related to fire. The city was called Yan City, and the leader of the Liaoshan clan was honored as the Yan Emperor. If we compare it with the map of Asia, the Buzhu mountain area controlled by Chongshan Academy is equivalent to the western region of China. The Fuxi clan's territory is equivalent to the Guanzhong Plain, and the entire Fuxi clan alliance is equivalent to Shaanxi, Gansu, Ningxia, parts of Shaanxi and Sichuan, and it is still expanding. The Liaoshan clan's territory is equivalent to the Jianghan Plain, and including the tribes belonging to the Liaoshan clan, it is roughly equivalent to Huiguang. The entire prehistoric world is like Asia magnified by millions of trillions of times. From Huangqiu, the territory of Fuxi clan, to Yanchinj of Liaoshan clan, Su Junming walked intermittently for nearly 20,000 years. Of course this is not an exaggeration. Compared with the prehistoric main world, what is more vast is the prehistoric starry sky. If we describe it, the prehistoric world is the Earth, and the prehistoric starry sky is the Milky Way that has expanded countless times. Crossing the main world of the prehistoric world, with Su Junming's current ability, without the use of space secrets, it would take about 10,000 years to fly with all his strength. But flying across the vast starry sky takes 10,000 times longer. This kind of vastness has completely surpassed the imagination of ordinary people in the closed semi-primitive and semi-slave era. Yanchinj is different from Huangqiu in that it is not built on a mountain, but is based on the center of a wide and flat plain. From the outside to the inside, there are 3 walls. The outermost layer is giant trees, the second layer is rammed earth, and the innermost layer is pure rock. The Red Emperor Shrine is a magnificent stone palace. The stone hall, which is 100 feet wide, is supported by 4 huge pillars that are dozens of feet thick. The surrounding walls are embossed with cloud patterns symbolizing flames, which is mysterious and mysterious. After getting off the back of the cow, he reached out and patted it, and took the cattle into Chongshan residence. Under the leadership of Zhang Shinian, he climbed up the steps, passed through the huge stone gate, and a broad hall appeared in front of him. Oncoming, on the wall in the center, there is a relief sculpture of a statue of a bull-headed man, holding a giant sword in his left hand and holding a flaming flower in his right hand. Under the statue is a golden throne about 10 feet high. It is inlaid with exquisite gems and beautiful flame decoration. On the left and right sides of the golden throne, there are 4 rows of 24 jade piers with a diameter of 9 feet. The jade pier is entirely blue, with flame cloud patterns only in the center, and the rest is blank. The surrounding walls are embossed with some murals outlined with simple lines depicting hunting, gathering, and conquests. They are like a grand narrative poem, telling the story of the Laotian clan's victory over the Great Flood and their rapid rise. When Su Junming quickly looked around the hall, an old man wearing linen clothes, a jade belt around his waist, and an exaggerated bull hat on his head, with a majestic expression and holding a scepter strode over. The Emperor Yan of Laotian clan has met the Taoist priest. True Lord Chongshan. Su Junming bowed his head. Master Taoist, please take a seat. Please. After greeting each other, step into the main hall. Emperor Yan flew up and landed on the golden throne in the middle. Su Junming flew up lightly and slowly landed on the first jade seat on the left. As for Zhang Shinian, he sat under Su Junming. Emperor Yan Zhangjiao frowned slightly when he saw this. May I ask, where is Changxian Township? Which sect do you come from? Pandeo comes from Buzhu Mountain Chongshan Academy. Chongshan Academy. Exactly. Emperor Yan Zhangjiao thought about it for a long time and had no impression at all. But he didn't show any contempt. He knocked the admiral's perfect Laotian armor away with one finger, which even he couldn't do. It is rumored that Mount Buzhu has been destroyed in the Lich War, and that hundreds of millions of miles around have been turned into ruins. With a faint smile, Buzhu Mountain can be destroyed, and naturally it can also be rebuilt. Over tens of millions of years, through the efforts of our sect, although it has lost its former glory as the world's #1 mountain, it is still a blessed place rich in spiritual energy. So, your sect is really a great meritorious deed. It's a pity that my Laotian clan is too far away from Mount Buzhu, so it's difficult to see the four-dimensional elegance of the Tianzu. After sighing, the conversation changed. Taoist master, are you here just to accept a fool like me as your disciple? Shaked his head. No, the poor Taoist was traveling all over the world quietly and thoughtfully. When he was passing through Wushan, he happened to meet Mr. Ling, who accidentally drank purple centipede and fell to the ground with poison. Pandeo has always been good at observing qi. Seeing that he has profound merits and is not a bad person, he used elixirs to remove the poisonous qi in his body and revive his life. After seeing my wonderful hands, I asked you to prepare to become a disciple and seek enlightenment. Pandeo had no intention of accepting a disciple, but he had the kindness to study medicine and save all people, so he agreed to teach him medicine. My lord, please respect your teachers and respect your teachings. Although you are not my disciple, you will be called your teacher. Hearing this, Red Emperor Zhangjiao breathed a sigh of relief. His son was extremely talented and had profound merits, so he was determined to let him join the sage, so as to find a strong backer for the Laotian family. During the time when he was the leader of the Laotian clan and the Yan Emperor of the Laotian tribe alliance, he had already understood who was calling the shots in the prehistoric world. Although this true monarch of Chongshan is extraordinary in strength, he is not a disciple of a saint after all. Zhang Shinian suddenly walked forward and knelt on his knees. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1033. Teacher, this disciple sincerely worships me, and I also ask the teacher to accept him as his disciple. Before Su Junming opened his mouth, Emperor Yan Zhangjiao's slightly anxious words had already reached him. Nonsense, you are also the young leader of the Laotian clan and the future Emperor Yan of the Laotian clan alliance. How can you do something that is difficult for others to do? Is this how you repay the Taoist master for saving your life? Why don't you get up? Teacher, this disciple has no intention of forcing others to make things difficult for him. He just wants to join the teacher's disciples sincerely, Zhang Shinian explained quickly. I know. Su Junming smiled and nodded. You have a great destiny, and you will have great achievements in the future. If you join my sect, you will not be mistaken, but I will provide you with protection after all. If you lose your merit and status because of this, but it's not my fault. He was almost certain that the current Zhang Shinian was the future Emperor Shenan. If you accept him, it's up to you whether he can become a divine farmer or not. Sanking will never support a non-disciple to become the Earth Emperor of the human race. As for the destiny, as saints, and apart from Hung Jun, they are the three strongest saints in the ancient world, they will not lose anything even if they violate the destiny. In fact, destiny is the will of the saint to a certain extent. Or to put it another way, the robbers will continue until the saint dies. Although Zhang Shinian was smart, he could not understand all the meanings of Su Junming's words. But one thing he knew. The other party will definitely not accept him as his direct disciple. A feeling of disappointment came over me. Seeing his expression, he spread his right hand and a jade slip flew into the opponent's hand. This is a pharmacopoeia compiled by myself. You can go back and study it. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me. Holding a jade slip in his hand, which contained the knowledge about herbal medicine that he cared about most, Zhang Shinian's attention was instantly drawn to it. Thank you, teacher. Get up quickly. Zhang Shinian quickly got up. Emperor Yan Zhangqiao also breathed a sigh of relief and quickly ordered his surroundings to prepare a room for Su Junming to rest. In this way, he settled down in Yanqing. Kongshanju Tiangong Hall, of the Tiangong Divine Furnace, Zizi Cauldron, and Balian Furnace that were originally placed here, only the Tiangong Divine Furnace that has been advanced to the middle grade Hunyuan Lingbao is left. The purple Ji Cauldron was handed over to Taoist Tiangong, and the 100 refining furnace was rewarded by him to his disciples. The huge Tiangong Divine Furnace is as towering as a giant mountain. The beast-headed Zurong next to him opened his huge mouth, and a pillar of fire hundreds of feet thick flew out. The Zurong Divine Fire of the Hunyuan series is masculine and domineering, burning the Tiangong Divine Furnace red. In the vast space inside the Tiangong Divine Furnace, a ball of blue blood with a diameter of 30,000 feet floated, and bursts of dragon roars came from it. In the huge amount of essence and blood, a huge 9-clawed poisonous dragon circled and danced, spreading the charm of the poisonous path. This 10,000 feet of essence and blood was tempered by Su Junming with the essence and blood of the ancient poisonous dragon at the Hunyuan level in the Black Mirror Lake. With a finger, the candle dragon flag flew out. The candle dragon above, with the head of a human and the body of a dragon, did not get any closer after sensing the aura of the poisonous dragon's essence and blood. Instead, it became repelled by the dragon's roar. It seems the legend is true. Su Junming said to himself. It is recorded in ancient books that the dragon clan was transformed from the Pangu meridian and is the descendant of Pangu. The ancient poison dragon is the descendant of the chaos gods and demons. Although both sides have the same character as dragon, they are indeed two completely different tribes. In the ancient times, during the war between hundreds of clans, the ancient poisonous dragon clan, together with the Kailan clan, fought with the dragon clan and were almost wiped out. Shaking his head, his idea of creating another dragon clan divine flag was shattered. With a wave of his left hand, Zurong put away the flame, and the light flashed back to the sacred flag, where it was put away by Su Junming. At the same time, the Shabi corpse god flag flew out. Both are powerful in the poison path, and the flesh and blood of the ancient poisonous dragon is a great tonic for it. He raised his hand and said, "Boom," a golden lotus flower flew out of the furnace. The 12 lotus leaves slowly opened, and the green poisonous dragon essence and blood flew out. Sensing the breath of essence and blood, Shabiji, who had the head of a human and the body of an animal, instantly jumped down from the sacred flag. 4 giant hands holding the sky eagerly grabbed the blood essence and swallowed it with their mouths open. The latter's aura increased visibly to the naked eye. Gradually, a critical point was reached. Countless poisons plus an ancient poisonous dragon from the realm of Hunyuan celestial immortal were a great supplement to him. Su Junming saw it, stretched out his hand, and a blood gourd flew over. There are many restrictions on the gourd, which is about twice the size of an adult's hand, which shows the importance of what's inside. Quickly forming seals, the spiritual light merged into the blood gourd. Open. With a buzz sound, the gourd opened, and a violent wave of blood melted into Shiba's body. The breath that was originally stagnant became surging again. The flags and banners were so fierce that Shibishi's whole body was so powerful. As the energy and blood merged into each other, the originally stubborn obstacles gradually became relaxed under the powerful impact. Finally. Boom. It is like the thunder of the nine heavens, and also like the mysterious sound of heaven and earth. The aura on Shiba's corpse instantly increased 100 times. The green chi and blood are like the Yangtze River rising into the sky. Roar. His expression was ferocious, and his roar was filled with joy. The Shiba corpse Yuan Ling collected by Su Junming was sacrificed and trained by him into an existence similar to a weapon spirit. So there are some simple emotions. After a long time, everything calmed down. He quickly sealed the gourd. There was not much flesh and blood collected from the Lich War. He would use less and he couldn't help but be careless. He put away the gourd and stared at the Shiba corpse god banner, which had reached the middle stage of Hunyuan true immortal, with a look of satisfaction in his eyes. Shibishi at his peak was the middle stage of Hunyuan true immortal. Now it has completely restored the cultivation level of Shiba corpse ancestral which in ancient times. Of course, it's just cultivation. When it comes to combat power, here he is just a magic weapon, while Shibaji has countless combat experience accumulated over hundreds of millions of years in ancient times. This is his strongest point. Although I can't say that I'm a good-looking guy, I'm still far behind. However, to practice the Dushan God Demon banner by oneself for the purpose of the Dushan God Demon formation, just the physical body is enough. Moreover, I can continue to practice the Shiba corpse God banner. If you have enough spiritual energy or flesh and blood essence, you can train to Hunyuan Xianxian or even Hunyuan Golden Immortal. Looking at the Shiba corpse god flag whose breath had calmed down, Su Junming put it away with satisfaction. This is already the 9th piece of the Hunyuan true immortal realm of gods and demons in his hand. In front are Dong Huang Tai, Zai, Dijiang, Fuxi, Zurong, Ling Xiao, Gong Gong and Hutu. Dong Huang Tai, Zai, Dijiang, Liao Xiao, Su Junming had complete physical bodies, especially Zai and Dijiang. When Su Junming got them, they were in peak condition, and only simple repairs were enough. Over the past 300,000 years, Dong Huang Tai and Ling Xiao had been trained to their peak by his method of returning to their roots. Fuxi and Su Junming have half of his essence and blood, so it is easier to practice. As for Zurong, Gong Gong, and Hutu, they were made using the physical bodies of Mingkang gods and demons. The gods and demons of Mingkang have two bodies, the body of the gods and demons of chaos, and the body of an innate god that was later trained in sacrifices. The latter has already reached the perfection of Hunyuan true immortal, and is only one step away from breaking through to Hunyuan Xianxian. If he were not a descendant of Pangu, Su Junming would not be willing to use it to worship the three-faced flag. Next is the Jamang divine flag. He had always wanted to sacrifice the 5 gods and demons Zurong, Ling Xiao, Gong Gong, Hutu, and Jamang to the Hunyuan true immortal first, but the ancient poisonous dragon was too suitable for Shibishi. If he replaced it with other gods and demons, it would be half the effort with half the effort, which was a bit of a waste. Things can only be changed temporarily. As for the precious Lich blood inventory, he was reluctant to use it until the critical moment.